Hello everyone, this is Sherry and welcome back. I have a fun layout that I'm working on today. This is actually in response to a challenge that was issued by HeyNaeDaily. She has a channel here on YouTube and she tagged me in the challenge. She's actually on the design team for the Scrappery Kit Club, and they were doing an International Scrapbooking Day vlog hop. And in that hop, they had certain things that in that challenge that they were creating a layout for. And she tagged me in that because she was tagging 4 different YouTubers to participate in the challenge and come up with a layout for that challenge. So she tagged me in it. So I got to work right away and started my layout. And it's a fun challenge. I'm so glad she tagged me in that because I always enjoy a good challenge. And so what the challenge issued was to create a layout using mint green and gold. Hello, how beautiful is that? Also to use paint, stars, and stencils. So those were the 4 ingredients. And I think on their design team, I think it was like one person. Each person selected something an element or something to be used on the layout. And so that's what they came up with, mint green and gold in the colors, and used paint on a layout, stars, and stencils. So that was just right up my alley. It was perfect. So I definitely went to work right away and took on the challenge. And so I'm starting here with my layout, and I'm using I first prepped the paper with some gesso, and I'm using the Heidi Swapp mint green mist, and I'm just creating like a watercolor effect on the background using the mist and spritzing it with on the layout, and then adding a little bit of water and just dabbing it. And I'm going to create some layers on that and just kind of build up my background there. And it worked out perfect because I just did a layout a couple days ago for another hop that we did, and it was actually using products. I think you may have seen it already. I was using products that we basically are hoarding because they're too pretty. Well, one of the items that I used in that layout was the Heidi Swapp Project Life Kit, and there are a ton of gold embellishments in that kit, and so I had them still on my table from that layout, and so they worked perfect on this layout. So I just pulled those right in, so you're going to see some of those same elements being used because they just fit perfectly with this. But I went ahead and I'm typically not a green person. I don't navigate to green. I love mint green, but for the most part, I don't really use a lot of green just because, you know, you just have certain colors that you love and you gravitate to. But I really liked how this turned out, and I loved the layers of the green that I'm building there. And I made a mess there with my mist, as you can tell. I didn't put the lid on well, and then I brought it back over to use it and shook it, and so I had mist all over my hands and everything. So anyway, so I've added the mist there, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to layer some watercolor on there in that green just to give it a different shade. And that's pretty much what I'm doing with this background. I'm just using different mixed media elements, mist, paint, and watercolor, and just dabbing different colors on and just adding to that background. And there again, I'm misting again, and I just keep adding and building and adding more and dabbing and adding more. That's pretty much the process. And I just love the effect that it gives with that background. So I've been doing this a lot on my layouts lately. And so I've got the watercolor now. Then I did want to go ahead and add some gold lame mist from Heidi Swapp, the gold lame, and I just love how that looks, and I love it with the mint green. The mint green and gold combination is gorgeous. So whoever picked that, that was a good choice because I just think they just are beautiful together, and I love how the gold mist added with that mint green, how pretty that looked. I just thought it was so soft and so pretty. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dry it a bit and kind of make sure that mist is dry. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the 2 of the next elements, the paint and the stencils, and actually stars. So I'm kind of doing all of the ones there. I have a star stencil, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere another layer to the background using the Tim Holtz Cracked Pistachio paint. And the color in that distress paint is just gorgeous. That is beautiful, and I love that. So I'm adding some stars using my stencil and just adding some more to that layered background. And this layout came together really quickly. To be honest, it was probably, I think, 45 minutes. It took me about 45 minutes, and that's everything. And so I thought it came together really quick. I was really happy that I was able to get it done so quickly, and I jumped right on it as soon as I saw her she tagged me in her video, which I'm going to link. I'll link to her video below so you can watch that video, because she did a beautiful layout. And I'm going to go ahead and add another layer here using some ink. And I've got the Studio Calico Color Theory in Mint. And I found an old star stamp. I don't even know. I want to say, I think those were from Heidi Swapp, like years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And they're the black foam just on white, on a clear acrylic. And I just decided to add a layer of the mint green stamp. And I love how that looked. I love that extra layer of the mint green on there. And and that's what you do with these backgrounds. Like, if you just take variations of the same color and just layer different elements one over the other, you come out with a beautiful background. I mean, they just blend together so well. And then what I'm going to do is, I do like a little bit of contrast. So I'm bringing in this is a light gray ink, and I'm going to be using some of my, I have some older stamps set aside that are really like for texture. And there again, I have another one of the star stamps. I have some border stamps, and that's what's in that little plastic container. They're just stamps that I use for really adding texture to a layout. And you can see here, there's just randomly stamping them. That's a text stamp that I just used. I've got another one here that is just like lines, and I'm just adding that around the layout just to build the texture and build the background and give it more interest. And with that, I think that's going to wrap up my background, and I'm going to go ahead and mount that on some mint cardstock. I did have some in my stash, I think from a Hip Kit Club, one of my hip kits, and so it went perfectly with the layout. So I'm going to go ahead and trim down the edge and mount it on the background, and it helps flatten that warped paper out. Sometimes the paper, when you do a lot of misting and as you know, when you wet it, it can warp. And it doesn't really bother me too much. I do like it flat. I always usually try to mount it on a full sheet of cardstock because it does help smooth it out. It's still not perfect, but it's close enough, and it doesn't bother me that much. That's just part of the design. So, I mean, that's what happens when you do that design. So I just live with it, and I'm okay with that. So I'm just putting some adhesive down on the background, quite a bit of adhesive, to make sure that I can get it to smooth out and lay flat. And here again, I always struggle getting those things on straight. So I fuss with it a little bit, trying to make sure that it gets adhered straight onto the cardstock. And I kind of just roll it down so it adheres everything there. And I missed a little bit of adhesive there on the corners. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tack those down. And I really was pleased with this background. I mean, I just think it just turned out so pretty. Like I said, I'm not typically drawn to greens, although the mint is gorgeous. So I really had a lot of fun with this challenge. So thank you again, HeyNaeDaily, for tagging me. It was a lot of fun. And I'm using this photo of my grandson, and he just had his, these were actually his 18-month photos, and so they haven't been too long ago. He's about 20 months now. And so we're there. He's actually in this cute little car, and my daughter had found this car, and we actually purchased it like a few months ago knowing she was going to use it for this photo shoot because she already knew what she wanted. She wanted the black suit, and she found this car, and it was very, you know, James Bondish kind of. And so, so we had this car picked out, and so he hadn't seen it. We had it, you know, like packed away, like, and, you know, stored, and because he was just too young, and so we hadn't pulled it out, and so he hadn't seen it, the car, or played with it before this photo shoot. So we took it with us to the photographer, and in the studio, when they went to go take the pictures, we could hardly get pictures. He could hardly get pictures taken. I mean, because he was so excited about that car, and he was just having so much fun, and we could hardly get him to be still. He wanted to just drive the car and play, and his feet honestly don't even really touch the pedals yet. It's a pedal car. It's like an older pedal car, and his feet don't even touch the pedals yet. But he was, you know, just moving his feet on the ground, like in a Fred Flintstone kind of way, and making his way around the studio. So it was a lot of fun. He loved it, and we were going to just do it for the pictures and then get rid of it, because to be honest with you, between my house and my daughter's, he's got way too many ride-on cars, and so my husband has almost like a garage for him at our house for all of his little ride-on cars. And so we were just going to get rid of this one because we didn't really think that it'd be anything that he'd want to play with, but he fell in love with it. And I mean, he was so excited, and we got some great pictures because he was so happy, you know, smiling with the car. So anyway, it was a lot of fun, but I did want to scrapbook the picture of him in the car. So pardon me for rambling on about that. I talk about him and get going. But anyway, so I've built my layers there behind the photo. You can see I've used some mint green papers and some gold, and just layered several pieces there. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on my title. I use the best is from the Dear Lizzie collection, and it's the gold words. And I still had some of those left over. I was trying to use them up because I do love them, and I love the gold. So I had to kind of look through and see what I had left and build my title off of that. So the best word that I could find was actually best to use, and so I just titled it Best Ride. It's not the most original title, and I know it probably could have been better, but I was trying to work with what I had in those gold words, and so I don't get hung up on titles too much, to be honest with you. I like to make them cute, but this worked for what I had available. So and then I'm using the Dear Lizzie mint thickers there, and I'm finding a few elements that I want to add, a few other embellishments that I can use. And here you go. You see me pulling in those Heidi Swap elements from the Project Life kit, and they actually worked perfect on the layout. The gold was perfect, and so I just kept digging and kept pulling from that collection and just using up as many as I could. And so I really like how they turned out, how it worked. They were right there and perfect for the layout. So there I am. I'm attacking my tendency to hoard those pieces, and now I'm using them in the second layout. So I was proud of myself. So they'll probably be gone soon. And then I'm just kind of fiddling with the elements and trying to figure out where I want those placed, and trying to figure out, I end up making changes in the final. I'm scooting everything away and actually starting to adhere down because I want to start putting things together. And you know, I like the way it looked before I moved everything, and now that I'm looking at it, I didn't put everything back the way it was. A lot of times what I would do is to snap a picture with my phone, which is great because I can get everything placed back exactly the same way. But because I record videos using my phone, I'm not able to do that, so I kind of have to go off memory. So I like the way I had it before I moved everything off, but it didn't end up in the same places. So that's the way it goes. I'm just making sure that photo was straight. I was kind of fussing with it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that heart and place my title down. And I'm loving that background. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep like bragging on myself, but I just love how that turned out. I love the colors. Maybe it's the mint. Maybe I should do green more. I don't know. That's like gorgeous. I love that green and gold. So I think maybe because it's like all the same colors. Sometimes I do a lot of mixed colors, which I do like too, but I don't know. That's very pretty. I'm thinking out loud, so pardon me. I feel like I'm scrapping with my friends, and so I'm just rambling. So anyway, there I'm going ahead and I wanted to kind of ground that ride with a label. So I put a label down and I'm just placing the letters on that label and fussing with them because the D kept hitting the S and the E was hitting the T. So you know how that goes. You just kind of fuss with it until you get it right. So and there I'm going to go ahead and start adhering those other elements down. Yeah, see, in the first time I had that little today flag under the heart off to the left, which I really liked, but I didn't end up putting it there. I think I forgot about that. So anyway, I'm fussing with kind of where to put that. I end up putting it under the photo and a little bit under the heart there. So it is what it is, right? That's where it ends up, and that's where it stayed. And that was from one of my hip kits. And gosh, I can't remember. Hang on. I hate not being able to say what a product was because I know you want to know. Excuse me while I fuss here. I want to make sure I find out what that is. I thought so. That's from the Dear Lizzie collection, and that is her, they're puffy stickers, and they're so darn cute. I mean, I love them. Serendipity is the line that those are from. You all probably knew that because you're real smart. I lose track of everything, where all these things are from. So I have to go back to my notes. So the Serendipity collection. And, you know, that little smile cabochon thing, that is from Webster's Pages, and I've had it for probably a couple years. It's kind of old. I think you probably remember that, but it's so darn cute, and I have never used it. And so I thought it was perfect because, like I said, I don't use green a lot, and the colors just went with this layout. So I was trying to figure out a place to use it, and I just stuck it on right there next to the title. I mean, I just thought it was cute, and it kind of, you know, spread the title out maybe a little bit. I don't know. I thought it was cute, so I put it there. And finally got to use that little thing because I've always thought that was adorable. And then I'm adding that arrow paper clip, and I think that's from Webster's Pages as well. And I just like the arrow pointing and leading the eye into the photo. And I'm going to go ahead and... see, what am I doing here? Oh yeah, enamel dots. I did have some really cute enamel dots that actually blended very well, and this is from the Dear Lizzie Serendipity collection as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and put some of those mint green enamel dots down. I feel like I'm all over the place today in my narration. I'm sorry. It's been a busy morning, and I guess I'm just feeling fun today. And so pardon me if I'm like all over the place, but... And I'm adding still a few more of those elements. I really wanted to use a heart right there, and I was trying to make that one work. I wanted to tuck it under the hello because it was so big it would cover the hello. Anyway, tried to make it work, and I thought it was too big, kind of like it, because of the big one up in the upper left. So what I'm going to do is I end up using a small gold heart that, see me, I'm still trying to make it work. It's just not going to work. Put it away, Sherry. So I go to the Studio Calico chipboard hearts that I have, and I have some a gold one in there. So I pulled out a smaller one, and I was able to make that work, and that turned out really well. I really like that next to the hello, and that's much better. So I'm going to stick that down with some hot glue. And I'm decided to use that little date label. That was in the Heidi Swap collection as well, and it's a chipboard, like a chipboard label, and it, well, you can see it says the date in gold, and I just stamped the date. Probably should have used Stays On because I have a feeling that that's going to smear. I could tell it was really wet, and I didn't think about it before, but I was just very careful with it, and I'm just letting it dry before I handle it. So anyway, that is my date stamp there, and that's going to pretty much wrap it up for me. I've got some close-up shots for you, and again, thank you so much for stopping by and for watching today, and thank you to HeyNaeDaily for tagging me. I had a lot of fun. And thanks for the tag, and leave me a comment if you enjoyed it, and a thumbs up, and thank you again, and we'll see you back here soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.